But I've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tom Challan. Tom has been in the profession for over 2 decades. He's still working his business, right? But him and his wife have really created freedom, financial freedom, time freedom. You know, they got grown kids. They're amazing parents. But now they get to live wherever they want, travel whenever they want. Like, how many of us, we signed on the dotted line because we wanted not just the income, but the freedom. But the freedom only comes from, it stems from you learning how to recruit and build a team. Because if you can't create duplication, if you don't have people within your organization building a business independent of you, you're probably not going to make a lot of money in this profession. Let's just keep it real. You can only sell so much product by yourself. And if you have a team that's dependent of you, like they can't succeed or move forward without you, well, then that's also kind of like a job, right? So the key to success is learn to recruit. And I love some of the tips that Tom's going to share with you, because him and I are very much aligned when it comes to recruiting, team building, and doing it with intention, doing it with purpose, doing it in a way that has a system in place for that duplication purpose, right? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what works, it matters what duplicates. So Tom, what's up? So excited to have you on. You guys have really dove into the social media world as well over the last probably 5-6 years, would you say?
Yeah, really the last 2.5, 3 is when I finally clicked.
Yeah, and you guys started crushing it over there, but you know, you were old school just like me, right? You did it the old school way for so many years, and maybe at first were a little bit like uncertain of what the social media thing would look like. And obviously you guys have flourished with mostly TikTok, but also in other platforms and just having fun and doing your thing. And it really is a powerful tool, but I'm so grateful that you and I did it the old school way, because that experience and the way we had to build, and then you blend that with the new school, that's a challenge. And really a problem today is that you see these people that are like influencers, and they're great. They share great tips and insights, but they're not really, in many cases, great network marketing mentors. They're great marketing, but not network marketing mentors.
They have influence, but they're influencers, but they don't have influence.
Yeah.
And that's the key. And you see, the cool thing that we get as leadership and network marketing is we can get influence, and we can also be influential we can have both through social media and building teams as well.
So obviously you've recruited, you said, over 8,000 people in the last 27 years. And I know we could talk for hours on this, but first of all, what is your mindset when it comes to recruiting? Because, you know, some people are afraid of it, or it's like a naughty word, like, which is hilarious. Because you look at even corporate America, right? They're recruiting executives, salespeople, like they're wanting to recruit or hire people. Now, I know it's a little different in network marketing, but not really. It's not really that different, because at the end of the day, a company is looking for good people to represent their company. And that's what we're looking for within our own company, within our network marketing company. So Tom, talk about a little bit with your mindset. You've been doing this for a hot second, and obviously you've recruited more people than just about anybody I can think of in this profession. So let's talk about that, and then we'll dive into some of your best.
Yeah, well, that's one of my favorite topics, because there was a point in my life where I was just trying to do network marketing the fancy way so I would look better. And I was trying to do it all this old, this weird way. And I bombed for many, many, many years. And then I just said, okay, one of the highest paid professions in the entire world are corporate recruiters. And they get to recruit people, make a couple $100,000 to a few million bucks, and then they're done. Then they got to go get another corporate person to go to their company. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we get paid to bring in amazing humans, but we can get paid perpetually and ongoing for many months, many years. So I just stopped fighting the recruiting process and realized it's one of the highest paid, most purpose-driven possibilities for what we can do for our time and effort.
Love that. So good. And then what would be some of your best advice for people?
Oh, yes.
Because, there's people that it's a crazy deal, man. It's a crazy deal, because like once someone cracks that code and they figure out how to recruit, I feel like they never quit. But a very high percentage of people stick with this profession once they crack that code. And the amount of people that never even recruit 2 people, it's crazy. Like, if you want to get your mentor's attention, your upline's attention, let's say Tom is in your upline, start recruiting. Right? He's going to work with the people that are bringing people to the table, because it's harder to work with someone or mentor someone that really doesn't bring new people to the table. It's so hard because it's like, look, I want to give you great advice. I want to help you, but you've got 0 people on your team. You're a team of 1. So
Yep.
really getting from 1 to 2 or 2 to 10, 10 to 20, 100, 1,000, that's how you create leverage.
I want to come out of the gate with number one, that I went from enrolling about 2 or 3 logically, analytically explaining all the details to enrolling anywhere from 1 to 2 people a day. And here's the crazy part of when Kim and I were enrolling up to 300 to 500 people a year, like clockwork, we worked half the hours. Like we would literally work 2 to 3 hours. We got to the point where we worked less than 3 hours a day in network marketing, still recruiting at least 1 person per hour every hour we worked. And here's the number one strategy that Kim and I used is, so really quick, I became a Christian in this industry at a business seminar, and I thought I was supposed to be a pastor. And then God showed me, how did you get saved? I actually became a Christian in network marketing at a business event. And I'm not saying this is how you become a great recruiter. I'm just giving you an example of my story. And what was amazing out of that, John, is I realized that I found my wife in this industry. I've had 4 beautiful daughters in this industry. I've created so much leverage and freedom and being able to do what I want when I want to do at the soccer games, the cheerleading practice, whatever that was, traveling the world, doing the freedom that you and Nadya have been so blessed that we've all watched around the world, what your freedom has been. And with that said, I just realized that I stopped fighting that I'm in one of these network marketing things. And I realized it's one of the most powerful leveraging industries in the world, that not only you can make freedom income, but you can truly transform people's lives more in this industry than, I will say, back-to-back Tony Robbins seminars, because your team is in a captive environment for thriving and growth. A billionaire taught me this, John. He built a team of 2 million people many years ago. My first mentor, he says, your leadership, your movement will only expand. Your team will only expand as fast as your leadership is developed. And we're a leadership incubation environment. And the only way that you're going to reach the top of your comp plan is when you become the best version that you're called to be on this earth. So with that said, number one strategy for being a top enroller is, who do you want to bless today? Instead of who do you want to recruit, who do you want to make money with, what new team, and I love what John, I steal this, by the way, I stole what John and Nadya used. What new team are you going to build today? Which means who are you going to enroll today that's going to build a new team, right? When I transitioned my mindset from being a good recruiter to I had to become unstoppable, because I knew if I recruited that person that came with fear, I knew if I recruited that new person that came with a little bit of doubt, thinking that she doesn't have much time, I knew if I recruited that person that tried this thing before but didn't work or did and whatever, I knew I had to become incredibly postured, skilled, loving, whatever it took to bless them, because I wanted to bless one more person. So the more people that I enrolled, the more of an impact I can make in this world for people maybe becoming closer with their faith or their marriage or their personal growth. So for me, I just, instead of recruiting, I just started blessing people. And that's when I went from being a top enroller, because the more I bring in, the more lives that I can change.
But you did talk about confidence, and you did talk about, faith and belief and posture. How does someone develop that? Because I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like it really is a big mindset shift, but a lot of people, their excuse will be, and I know you work with a lot of new people. I enrolled 9 people in the last couple of weeks. Like I'm still out there starting new teams, like you said, launching new teams, partnering with people. And it is, people get overwhelmed so easily.
Yep.
And they're their own worst enemy. So they get this analysis paralysis, and they just don't take the action because they're like, I need to know more. I need to have confidence like Tom. I need to be able to like John, which isn't true. This is decades in the making. So what would you say to that?
Well, there's a short way to do this. There's a fast way to do it, or there's a long way. The long way is personal growth, mentorship, and going, unraveling all the doubt and the poverty mindset and the fear that you want to do that too. Yeah. But there is a fast way, and that's make a freaking commitment that the more that you hold on to your fear, your doubt, what should I do? Should I lead with the product today or business? Should I lead with this presentation or this? Should I use this person's ATM or this person's ATM? Should I study with? The more you have the ability as a human being created by the creator of the world to make a freaking decision right now, just make a choice to say, I'm all in, I'm going to pick this simple path. And you could do what we used to call in the old day that I don't believe, fake it till you make it, or now you can just have the faith to walk out who you're called to be, which is an entrepreneur, a CEO, a boss, a leader, just like any other Fortune 500 CEO. You can walk out confidence. And I know it's easier said than done, but if you ever got pissed off enough, or if you ever went through a traumatic experience in life, or if you ever got laid off and you were pissed at your boss, you have the ability to change your mindset in a minute. So it's easier to do it now rather than thinking about and analyzing it and dragging it out.
Right. And I remember when I was new, and still today I do this, but especially when I was new and it was before I was having success, before I felt super confident, I was just very upfront with people. Once I got over that stuff and just was like, you know what, I'm brand new, but here's what I know. This guy or this woman, this mentor, this leader, this person, whoever you're working with, or maybe a group of people you're working with, you edify them. You edify the video. You edify the group, the tool, the company. Get yourself out of the way. It's not about you. Now, of course, you do want to build that know, like, trust, right? Like you said, Tom, you want to work on yourself and develop leadership skills and all the things. But in the meantime, when you're new, it's beautiful to be new. Because when people are like, how's it work? What's the company? What's the cost? What's this? What's that? You go, great question. Let me introduce you to my mentor, right? My mentor can answer that question. My mentor can talk about how you can get started very part-time and not necessarily having a lot of influence. You don't have to be an influencer. Isn't that funny that people think that nowadays? They're like, I don't have a big following on social media. And I'm like, how many Facebook friends do you have? They're like 600. I'm like, dude, back in the day, if you had a list of like 100 people, you were like a top tier prospect.
Yeah.
Like, someone would come in, they go, I got a list of 100 people. You're like, oh my, wait, you don't have phone numbers. And they're like, oh yeah, I don't have their numbers. You're like, God, so close, right? But now it's like someone has 600 friends and they feel like a loser. And it's like, dude, that's 600 people that, like you said, you can bless them with this opportunity, or at least with the product. So anyway, I love that. It's such a great conversation. It's so true.
To make the top income, to be a top recruiter, it's actually, all of you already know what to do, just so you know. You've already heard it. When are you going to listen to it? Because what John just said was literally the mic drop of this whole thing, and we could be done right now. It is, when are you going to get out of your own way? And that's why when you bring in salespeople or top entrepreneurs or top athletes, they usually struggle the most because they're overly confident making the info about them, the spotlights on them. They say, well, how does your product work? And they're like, blah, 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 instead of, I don't know. I just know this stuff works. I've never seen it work so well, but if you don't like it, we have a great customer satisfaction. You just need to try this thing. I'm telling you, you're going to rock it.
So true.
As soon as you get out of the logic, which means you're getting what John just said, getting a spotlight off you and putting it on something else other than you. And that only took me about 4 years because I was stubborn and prideful.
And then what is your process, right? Like once you get someone, because you guys, dude, 8,000 recruits, like, are you like proactively reaching out to people? Are most of them coming to you? And then what's that look like when you're like, okay, they say, yes, tell me more.
Yes. Well, there was this gal, I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She's in this amazing leadership company. Her name is Tanya Eliza. She said the most mic drop thing I've ever heard. Every single one of you, there's only two ways you're going to prospect. It's either actively or passively. Yeah. That is literally it. Means you're either going to actively learn how to build natural relationships without spamming or bugging people, naturally connect with people. And I'm telling you right now, out of 8 billion people, I can connect with any human, and so can you. If it's genuine and from the heart, I can literally find someone that I find something special in as a human being and just literally reach out and go, you know what? You are a badass. I love the way that you and your wife show up on your live. I'm not even sure you're the right fit for our company. I just want to at least reach out there and see if you're open to taking a peek at what we do. Right. And I'm not saying you have to be that direct. I'm not saying you have to go that quick. I'm not saying you don't but I'm telling you right now, no one ever says, oh, you're spamming me. No one ever says, oh, why would you do that? I don't even think I've had it one time. And I'm a 50-year-old, big nose, weirdo looking guy in a woman's company reaching out to beautiful 30-something-year-old women and never get anybody like, why are you reaching out to me? This is weird. Because when you do it right, you could actively build, and you could do it slower too. You could say, hey, how you doing? Great. You could build a rapport for days, weeks, months if you want. I do a mixture of both. And then, of course, you want to passively build your business, which means you want to build your brand. You want to learn to leverage. You want to attraction marketing, which John and Nadya are maybe only the best in the entire world. So if you're following them, I don't have to say much. Just watch what they do. They're the best attraction marketers that I know on the planet, one of them. So you have both aspects, but the key is don't focus on passive first unless you're already a freaking baller. You need to make money for your family as if your life depends on it, because you want to do what duplicates, and attraction marketing for some people takes time.
I love that you basically do what we do, but talk about it for your process, right? The two of you obviously are crushing it with recruiting still today. This isn't like what you used to do. You're just like me, like you're still doing this exact action right now. What does that look like? What's that process when someone says, okay, cool, tell me more. Next step, what are you doing?
Yeah, we do something. I don't know if you ever heard of this thing called, it's kind of complicated. It's called ATM. Like, look, I tried to break it. Everybody in our company, every leader in the world's trying to figure out a better, quicker, more duplicatable way. And in our company, there was a lot of leaders that are like, no, it takes too long. It's blah. They went away and they did other things. And I looked at all the numbers and I'm like, oh my gosh, the dumbest thing we ever did was get off a little. Some people got off, even myself, a little bit off focus.
Yeah.
Building an environment where you take someone who says yes into a community that FOMOs, that has third-party validation, that has multiple different options of someone that they can connect with in that community with a testimonial. There is nothing in network marketing that comes close to that kind of leverage online, at least. I mean, local buildings, a little bit different story. But when it comes to online, there is nothing that I've ever seen that not only gets people, even though it takes a few extra steps to get people to take a look at the community, you know, you might have to follow up with people a little bit, but once they're in, man, we find people that are in there for a year that are like, okay, I tap out. I've been watching this thing for a year. I'm ready to go. So we just put them in an ATM community. And then we do exactly literally what you taught. You and Nadya are, I don't think without you, we'd be the top earners of our company. Because I was so stubborn and prideful to my old school way of thinking in network marketing, because ATM did not make sense to me. And it doesn't make sense to a lot of traditional old school network marketers. Yeah. Because it takes a few extra steps. Yeah. But it's way better for leverage. So what we do is we put people
and duplication, right? It's like once someone
way better.
All you got to do is add them to the same groups that I added you to, tag them in the same things. Now, it is funny because sometimes people, they overthink that. They're like, which groups? How do I add people? And like, I get it if you're not used to using groups. So once you get the hang of it, compared to what you and I used to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then also the group chats. Like, this is the other thing. I love when people first start doing group chats, because I know if I can help them, even if they don't enroll anybody, even if they do like 5 group chats and nobody joins, but it's like they're learning the process and they get the basics down, right? The adding, the tagging, the messaging, the group chats, like it's at least something you can work with until you get at least the foundation. Like I love when someone's like, how do I make 10 grand a month? It's like, let's make 100 first.
Yeah.
Let's make a check with a comma, maybe $1,000. We'll talk about 10,000 a month, but let's start with the basics.
100%.
You know? Yeah.
I see some of the top recruiters in network marketing in our team. Like the biggest recruiters in our company necessarily don't use ATM and they don't have the biggest depth. And sometimes the people that don't recruit the most amount of people have the biggest depth because they use that duplication system through community building and ATM.
That's so true. Now, what would you say for people that get like the objections, right?
Oh, yeah. Give it to me. Give it to me. Yeah. Well, here's the thing about objection. There's one, after enrolling it's actually well over 10,000 people, but after enrolling over multiple people, I realized the number one objection that almost every single prospect has. And if you get this in your mind, and it's the hidden objection, it's the one they won't necessarily come out and say directly. And it's simple. John, I've heard you talk about this. The number one hidden objection when they say, how much money is it? What do I do? I don't have the time. I'm not good at sales. I'm blah, 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 whatever that objection may be. What they're really saying is, can I do it? Can I do it? I may sound confident as a real estate broker that's made 7 figures, but I'm telling you, most humans deep down inside, when they're trying something new, they're a little afraid and they don't know if they really can do it. Otherwise they would do it. Yeah. So whenever someone asks me a question like, I don't have time, I'd be like, perfect. That's pretty much 90% of the people that partner with me. Once you get started, we'll show you exactly how to rocket in the time you have. By the way, how much time do you have? So every answer, without getting logical, I know the least about my company. I know the least about my comp plan. I know the least about ingredients, no matter what company. If I join John's company and Nadya, I don't want to know all the ingredient crap. I don't want to know if it's FDA or this or that. All I know is this. I learned to keep it really simple because most people don't want all the details. And I heard you talk about this on a live the other day. They don't want to know all the stuff. In fact, if you give it to them, most people, not all people, most people, you just fill their head up too much and they'll have to think about it.